Let's go.
Let's go.
I never say that. I can't say. I'm too old to say that now.
Say what?
The let's go thing when people get excited, like let's go.
No, you can never be too old to say that. I don't know.
I think I am. I'm like I'm a product of the '80s, so my let's go is like, dude,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know, or
dude.
that's
Well,
awesome.
oh
That kind of a
wait,
thing.
does that make you what? 40s, 50s these days?
I'm 50 years old. Just turned 50. Just in. Excuse me. Look at that, yawning. That's how you know. 50. Yeah, turned 50 last year.
Wow, that is crazy to see. You don't look 50 at all, by the way. I will say that now.
Thank you.
You
I'll
don't look
take that.
50. You don't look 50 at
Good.
all.
I'll take that. I certainly don't. I certainly don't feel that. That's an added benefit to our business. Is the age thing is just kind of like, I don't know.
Whatever,
You know.
just yeah.
Yeah. You're like, no, it's no thing. It's not a thing.
Going off what you were saying before, how you've just been busy with a lot of things going on. You mentioned as well a few months ago that you haven't even had time to play games or get into photography. But I wanted to know, if has it changed lately? Are you getting back into it now, or is it still just flat out?
Sadly, no. It's kind of still just flat out. It's like and it's killing me because I'll be like certain places and I'll be like, oh, there's clear skies out tonight and it's cold and that's the perfect time to be doing telescope work and all of that. And I've got so much to learn on a couple new pieces of gear, and I just every single time that I've got the ability to do something, it never seems to work out with the schedule. And there's a group of folks that I meet with to do like telescope nerd talk. Usually they meet once a week on Wednesday nights, and I like every week I feel like I'm telling them like, guys, I'm so sorry I can't do it tonight. Oh, I'm yawning all this right now. I've had plenty of caffeine today. It's not even that late. I mean, I gotta go get dinner. No, so it's like it's still the same, just kind of like relentless sort of pace to things, but it's a good problem to have.
Always being busy, which is a blessing and a curse if you think about it.
Yes,
Didn't you come to Australia? I think, was it last year or the year before, and you shot some of our birds?
I did. I got some of your bird shots. I got the first Southern Hemisphere Milky Way shot, which was really cool for me because it's all upside down, obviously, compared to what we're accustomed to seeing in terms of like the positioning of it. And to see so much of the galactic core, which is something that, in North America, we usually struggle to see a lot of it. It's kind of low on the horizon for us when it's at its best. And so I was a kid in a candy store. I was pretty happy. The weather cooperated with us in little bits and pieces here and there, and I was able to get those shots, which was just awesome. That was pretty wild. And yeah, did a great batch of hikes and things like that for the limited amount of time that we have to kind of squeeze stuff in between the 2 weekends. But it worked out really well, and I was very grateful to attend the cons and have that opportunity because, my goodness, I don't know if it's the same for Australians to get away and do things, but my goodness, that it's not cheap and it's very far away, and the idea of getting to go to Australia to me was like a bucket list, like a bucket list situation. And they were nice enough to reach out to us for this year, but it was a little last minute notice, and we were unable to accommodate the calendar to make that happen. But I'm hopeful that maybe in 2027 I find myself back out in Australia. That'd be amazing.
Did you do, like, was it Supernova? Is that what you did here?
Yes, yes. And I'm trying to remember. It was Adelaide and Wellington. Is that where we were?
Wellington. That sounds like New Zealand.
No, that's what I'm thinking, and I'm messing that up. Brisbane.
Brisbane. There you go. Yeah.
Brisbane and Adelaide, I believe, were the two cities. Yeah, now I'm thinking of like, yeah, what was New Zealand? Wellington and something else, I think. How funny. So sorry.
No,
But yeah, we did New Zealand as well, which was another one of those things where I'm like, what is life that I'm doing, 2 destinations in 1 year that I never could have conceived of being able to do, in my lifetime. And all of it's as a result of this wacky job, this wacky industry, and this wacky job.
I feel like for Australians, if they want to go anywhere that isn't like New Zealand or some of the closer islands, it's like a $2,000 flight anywhere. Just going the US, that's like that's 2 and a bit grand, no matter where you go.
Yeah, and crazier now, like than it's ever been. So I mean, just domestic flights are running that much, here in the US. It's outrageous. Yeah.
Did you
let
ever come to
alone
Sydney?
getting to the UK or anything like that. It's just insane. No, we
Oh,
landed in Sydney, so I saw your airport very briefly, and then had to take a little commuter jet over to. I want to say we started in Adelaide. I think is where it began. I think it was Adelaide, and then and then Brisbane, or was it Brisbane then Adelaide? No, I think it was Adelaide then Brisbane, and it was we went to Kangaroo Island between the two, which was incredible as well, very aptly named. And but yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot the question. What was that? Why was I
no,
bringing
just
up?
if you ever came to Sydney, I feel like you got to do a con
Oh
in
no,
Sydney or something. Like,
I'd love to. I'd love to. And I honestly don't know. Maybe that's what they were offering this year. But again, it was just one of those things where like, oh man, the schedule wasn't going to allow it. And and again, it's a good problem to have in life. It's just so bizarre.
now, going on from Australia, because I feel like I'm a bit biased when we talk about Australia for so long, but I wanted to know around 11 years ago, you said that if you could play any character for a day, like be that character, you said Ripslinger because you can fly and you can do all this. Now, 11 years later, is it still the same? Is that still the answer with how many more characters you've done
Is
since?
that how long it's been since you and I spoke?
No, this is just from a Reddit AMA that you did like over a
Okay, I'm
decade
like,
ago.
wait a minute, did we do this? It's so funny because you actually you seem so familiar to me. Well, all of a sudden I was like, yeah, yeah, no, we've
It
met before,
it
but
might
apparently
be.
not.
You did an interview
But
with an.
you probably would have been like 11 years old 11 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, I was born 2006.
Oh, that's adorable.
Because
Uh,
I know I was 3 years old when Resident Evil 5 came out. That's how.
holy wow,
Now I played
that's
it.
crazy.
I played it later in life than obviously when it came out, but it is crazy to think.
That is kind of crazy. Well, no, and that's happening now. Like I'm meeting so many people that are in their 30s, and they'll meet me at a con, and they'll say like, "Oh, you're the voice of my childhood," and I'm like, "But you're 30, like you're in your 30s," and they go, "Yeah, I was like 14 when that game came out."
Oh
I'm like,
man,
"Oh yeah, that was 15 years ago. That would, yep, that'd make you right about being a kid." And it's like,
bro,
wow, that is wild.
just
It's a great situation. But no, I don't think my answer would change. No, I'd still love to be able to fly, be an airplane. I just, as you well know, we're asking about in terms of like photographing some of the birds there. Yeah, I mean, like flying and birds and all that stuff. It's just fascinating to me. So if I had to be in Australia, I'd love to be a kookaburra, just because they're so absolutely hilarious, and that call is arguably one of the most unique calls that a bird could possibly make. They're just cool looking birds. They're kind of
they are.
stocky and yeah. One of my favorites up here in North America is the belted kingfisher, and I feel like that the kookaburra is a close relative. They kind of just sort of look like kind of punk rock little birds.
We do have some very insane wildlife when you look at what we have. I mean, half
Oh
of it
yes.
can half of it can kill you, half of it looks friendly. You know, it's
Yep.
just it just
Yep.
just whatever. And
Yep.
what I was going to say before, the reason I think you might feel familiar with this is you did an interview with another Aussie called Dan Allen, who is actually a good friend of mine. A couple months
Dan
ago,
Ellen Gaming. Yep.
and there's a thing when I started. There's a joke because we kind of look similar in a way, and there's a joke that I'm
Okay.
just his like younger sibling, and people like comment that.
You're
It's like,
Danny's little brother. Yep. I mean, it would match too, because like the Dale Danny thing. That's what parents like to do with their kids. You know, this is Denise, Danny, Dale.
yeah,
You know, Donnie. You know, it's that kind of thing. So yeah, it works. It fits.
it does. It
Own it.
does. Going on to what you were saying about Ripslinger, because I know you said you wanted to play more villains. Because I noticed there's a bit of a joke that you get typecast because people hear like activity in your voice. There's a lot of parkour roles that you did. You wanted to play more villains. Do you think there's a part of your range that you feel casting hasn't fully tapped into yet?
You know what? I guess. I mean, maybe. That's not for me to know though. I guess it's interesting, and it's like, this is such a name drop kind of a thing, and it's not like, anything all that significant. But when I was in college, Mary Steenburgen and Ted Danson came to my university, and we got to do this little TV thing together. It was really cool. It was a really neat thing. They were very generous with their time, like exceptionally generous with their time. They were just lovely human beings. And after we had recorded this TV segment, we all went out for dinner, and I remember kind of like taking my opportunity to sidle up next to Miss Steenburgen, who at the time was talking so much about how much she loved comedy. Like she loved doing comedy performances and sketch comedy and all that. But she said, look, the industry tends to see me as more of a dramatic actress. And so I saddled up next to her and I just said, "Oh, Miss Steenbridge, I'd love to get your advice because, I'm a screenwriting major, but I've done stand-up comedy for years, and this is my last, year here in college, and I'm going to get out there, and I hope to be a comedic character actor." And then I started to keep speaking, and she went, "Oh, sweetheart, you don't get to choose." And I went, What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, you don't really get to choose starting out kind of what you want to do." And she said, "So I will say this." She goes, "I'm a prime example." She's like, "I loved comedy, but the industry responded more to my dramatic reads and my dramatic work." And so she said, that's where I've been." And she said, "Look, if you look like a bully and the industry wants you to play bully roles, and so the roles that you book when you're starting out are like the bully or that kind of thing," she says, "you're going to be happy to take the job, and you'll take that and run with it and do what you can to try to to sort of take those earnings from that and put that into your passion and put that into your pursuits of the things that you want to do, maybe through more training or through networking or through doing your own projects so that you can put yourself out in the way that you want to," that kind of thing. And I remember thinking like, "Oh, weird, like, that's kind of disheartening." But then it turned out to be like the absolute truth and the best advice that I think anybody could ever hear, is that it's like, no, you kind of got to go. And that, like, my whole voiceover career is basically testimony to that, because I wasn't thinking about voiceover at that time, and I was just kind of like piddling around thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna get out and keep doing stand up, and maybe I'll be a writer on a TV show if I'm lucky," and that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden it was like I went out and started hearing more people in the comedy world, like, asking me about my voices and my characters, and, "Oh, you must be a cartoon guy," or that kind of thing. I was like, "No, I don't know anything about that." And then it was like it just kept getting more and more that I was like, "All right, I think that's the industry telling me to bark up that tree." And so I went where the industry was telling me to go, which was voice acting, and fell in love with it. Thankfully, really and truly. But it was, yeah, it's like, yeah, the idea that you get to choose what you want to do. So for me, it's like, if the industry hears me more in those hero roles, or, like you said, like, movement, action roles, parkour voices, things like that, what am I going to do? I'm not going to turn down work because it's
No.
not a villain role. And I've gotten to do some cool villains here and there, and I do enjoy being bad guys. It's really fun. But it is an interesting thing to think of, my goodness, to stay this busy 20 years plus in the business and to still be this busy is incredible. And the idea that I've done something like Sonic the Hedgehog for over 16 years now, that's just wild. And so if the industry sees me in a certain way, but maybe as I age into it, it's fun to think, "Oh, I wonder if I could start to do, different types of roles," like, because inherently, my voice will just sort of start to get into a different range, as I age. It's like, that's exciting to me. I think that's fun. It's fun to think about it. But for now, I'll go where the work is. It's like, I'll go the way they want me to go.
Isn't there like a thing where it's like you don't pick your career, the career chooses you? And it's like
Yeah,
people will look at their idols and be like, "Oh, I want a career like you," but they'll never have a career like them. They'll have a career like themselves, and you've mentioned that quite a bit.
I say that all the time. I say that to people all the time. I said that at a con this weekend because there was an aspiring voice actor, and I was like, "Well, you're not aspiring. Never tell somebody you're aspiring. You're just on your journey, but you're working towards, your goal. Aspiring sounds like you're not doing it. That you just have hope." I was like, "Don't say aspiring. You're working toward, the goal of being a full-time voice actor." And then and I was like, "Beyond that, I could tell you to do everything I did. It won't work. It will not work for you because you're never going to have my career, and I'm never going to have yours. I don't know what magic you bring to this industry. I don't know what your skill sets are. I don't know how your background as a human being is going to influence the choices you make as an actor and all that." I'm like, and that's the good news and the bad news, is that it's entirely up to you, but it's got
Yeah.
to be you to be the one to make it happen. I was like, I could tell you everything I did. It's never going to work. And yeah, and that's the truth. It really is. It's just the career. I mean, look at you. You didn't ask to be Dan Allen's little brother,
That,
you know?
that title was just given to me.
It
It-
just happened.
Literally four. I think it
Life
was.
just happened. I love it. No, I enjoyed my interview with Dan. So it was, yeah, and it's like, much like yourself, I was like, yeah, this is fun. And it's so incredible to think that I'm assuming you are in Australia as we speak.
I am. Yeah, I'm in Australia as we speak. Yeah.
Holy cow. What is, like, it's the future plus 18 hours or something like that, right? Like, what
Yep.
time is it where you are?
It's 10:37 midday right now.
Okay,
And
not too
it's
bad. No, yeah, it's crazy to think that we can be this far away and, oceans, apart, literally, and yet here we are.
right here in the
It's pretty
Zoom.
wild. Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
I lost my train of thought for a second. I had a question ready to go. With what you with what you were
I threw you
saying,
off with the whole Dan Allen thing.
you did. No, it's all right. Yeah.
Well, I'm yawning, you're forgetting, so, it's,
This
yeah,
is the interview vibes, This is it. This
exactly.
is. Oh, that's it. I remember, how he was saying the whole aspiring thing. I look back at my
Yeah,
earlier emails and I go, "Oh, I'm an aspiring interviewer," and I look back and I just laugh at how I used to
right.
word
Yep.
myself in emails. Doesn't do you any favors, honestly.
I had a friend point out something in one of my earliest bios on my own website when I was doing stand up. I think I had written in my own bio because everybody's running their own website. To this day, I still run my own website and just kind of just put up whatever's there kind of thing. And I think I had in an early bio, this would have been probably 25 years ago with like stand up or something. It was originally born in Michigan. And my friend was like originally born, like as in like there was more than one birth like elsewhere other than Michigan. Like, I was like,
Wait, does this
I
mean
don't
you're a
know. It's just
clone? Is the real
yeah. I
Roger
was
Craig
like,
Smith not here or something?
I'm like, I don't know. It just sounded good. I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah, there's nothing worse than going back and going, ugh, who was that guy? I don't know that guy anymore. I don't know who that person is.
Even just like the first interview or the first email, I'm like, geez, how did I get started in this, man? How did I?
Yeah, I think
But
that's the way it's supposed to go. I mean, like that's life. That's how you know you're improving and getting better is when you look back on the things that you were and what you've done in life and where you've come from and go, man, what was that? That was weird. It's like
yeah,
I
I
don't even
feel
know who
like
that guy is anymore.
if you do something and you're not improving with each new thing that you do, it's what are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah,
Got to
yeah,
improve
no,
somehow.
yeah.
With you having done, writing, hosting, and stand up before moving into voice work full time, out of those, which ones do you think show up the most when you're in the booth?
All of them. They all show up, but honestly, well, I don't know, man. I think it's an equal thing because, a lot of what we do is ad lib things here and there to give a little extra oomph to a performance or to breathe a little more life into things. And thankfully, stand up prepared me for just kind of, coming up with stuff off the cuff and just trying to think on your feet real quickly. So stand up really shows up in the way that I need to make different decisions. If the client is asking for you to do three in a row of a given line, you got to come up with three different ways to try to say the same thing, but maybe have a little bit of a different inflection or a different cadence and that kind of thing. And then there's the element of like adding ad libs to stuff. So there's a lot of like the stand up performance elements, but then screenwriting comes into play quite often for me because I'm always trying to be mindful of the fact that I can't just make anything up. It only is going to serve the line or the project if what I'm ad libbing is making sense to either what's already happened within the script or what's going to happen or just staying true to character. And that's screenwriting, and I love trying to ask the right questions from a formulaic approach to just the core elements of storytelling that have to be there for it to really work and land with an audience and make sense. And all of that's just foundations of screenplay, of screenwriting. And so, yeah, it's, I'd say all of it. I'd say emceeing and all those things. It's like you put on a lot of different hats, as I'm sure you're well aware, like, in dealing with people and trying to deal with, say, PR people versus the talent that you speak to and that kind of thing. There's all these different ways that we all sort of interact and behave. And even on my side of things as a voice actor, it's the same thing. I have to put on a different hat when I'm dealing with my representation. I have to put on a different hat when I'm dealing with fans, to put on a different hat when I'm dealing with, people that I work for, like all of that stuff. It's always this weird, delicate dance. And so all of those things that I did back in my early days of kind of trying to figure out and navigate life, they always influence everything I do from all different aspects, not just behind the VO mic. But definitely for performances, I want to say it's pretty much split kind of even. It's a lot of those old skill sets that just kind of play in all the time. Trying to entertain, trying to keep things fresh and funny and energy and all that kind of stuff, and working an audience, which the audience being my director, making sure they're happy with what the story that I'm trying to tell with each line, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's all of that.
Speaking of all the hats you've worn, I wanted to ask because a show that I watched a lot growing up was Regular Show, and you've done like
Whoa.
170 characters in that show, which is a lot of hats. You know, a lot of like even now there's still characters where I watch. I'm like, wait, that sounds. Now that I'm thinking about it, that sounds like you. I swear that has that.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to know when you read a script from them, do you ever get a bit of a giggle before you go into the booth because you find out who you're playing or what you're
Always.
doing?
Yes, always, especially because they are so funny. The shows are always so funny, and it's like I love reading the scripts beforehand because there's so much like there's just such good writing on that series. And again, like you're pointing out what I or alluding to, and I'm what I often point out to fans that are like, "How did you do like 178 characters?" I was like, "Okay, first of all, that's what the internet is saying, only because it's the number of credits that would be associated with somebody who worked on a show for 7 seasons as like a utility guy that I'm going to come in and do 3 characters in an episode, and that's very common for a lot of series work, but." Let's be honest here, and I always make the joke. I'm like, taco vendor number 4 is probably going to sound similar to what I did 10 episodes prior for a video store clerk, and I'm like, that's just how that stuff kind of goes. I was like, so it's the nature of the beast that, the differences that happen between characters in different different episodes, they will inevitably maybe have that like you said, that Roger Craig Smith tone, but we always try to do something different here and there, as best we can, and I've been fortunate enough to play some pretty distinct characters like that have very distinct differences in them, but it's not as if 178 of them are all unrecognizable to another. I'm sure there's some crossover happening in there somewhere, I'm sure.
I think the one that got me, because obviously I know you're like Low Five Ghost, yeah, obviously the intern, but the one that got
Yeah.
me was when you were the guy selling the apple fritters, the guy in the
The apple
store.
fritters have been double glazed, man.
I don't know why, I just didn't expect that. Like when I saw
No, that's
that,
one of those things too where I didn't expect it either, and for whatever reason that thing just carries on so much life, and I meet so many fans that are like, "Oh dude, the apple fritter guy, we love that dude." I'm like, "Okay." Yeah, it's like that, or like I play Planet Starlight Chaser all day every day, all day every day, there's all these weird little things that seem to creep up. The apple fritter guy, these fritters have been double glazed by mistake. It's like that's who knows what catches fire,
I
it's
know
like,
it. Like you're also the. There's like a lot of memes that come out of this show, and it's like the come on Jimmy, you gotta have something, and you're the guy that's selling the TVs. I don't know. Do you?
oh
Do you
yeah, see,
yeah.
and look at that, I'm kind of going, oh yeah, I've seen that pop up every now and then too. I mean, this is the reality, and it's the reality of the nature of the beast of the work that we do is so often I'm coming in sometimes if I'm doing 3 voices and it's all incidentals, as they would say, like just like characters that don't necessarily even have a name, it's guy in bar, TV salesman, that kind of thing. They might get me done in 30 minutes. And so what becomes an entire episode of like memorable moments to the fans that watch it represented a 30-minute, booking for me that was probably done in more like 15 minutes. And it's so funny when all of a sudden I'd be like, yeah, I think I did that, right? Like, oh, did I do that? Like, I have to every now and then a fan will come up to a table, at a convention and tell me something that I've done, and I'm like, I don't think I was in that, and they go, no, it's you. You're in the credits, and we have to look it up real quick, and I look it up on my phone. I go, oh yeah, that is me. That's right, I did that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
It is
Yeah,
that
no,
way.
it's like the fans that have sought out and heard the old Pizza Hut ads, which were happening. I want to say even before I started doing Sonic. Maybe not, but yeah, it's like, and they're like, he sounds like Sonic the Hedgehog selling. I was like, I wasn't doing Sonic the Hedgehog selling Pizza Hut. That would sound so shrill and annoying, but it was pretty high energy, and the high energy voice is always going to sound kind of hyperactive and close to Sonic anyway. But
Haven't you
yeah,
done like
there's always, yeah,
the Ram
always something.
ads? I think you do the
Oh
Ram
yeah,
ads as
Ram
well.
trucks.
Ram trucks.
Captain America selling Ram trucks. That's like, I love that stuff. I mean, it's like there's nothing funnier to me than when, and getting to do things. I did a Budweiser ad a while back, and I was just like, yeah.
This
I was
is
like,
it.
let me tell you a story about a beer. I've done Corona ads and things, where I just laugh and kind of go, hey, it's neat. I am very, 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 very fortunate to have hit and still do. I mean, like, now I have fans coming up and going like, you're the voice of Cartoon Network, right? That's you doing the promos in between, the shows. And I'm like, yep. And they're like, yeah, it kind of sounds like Sonic the Hedgehog. And I'm like, well, it's high energy. So yeah, it's going to have elements and flavorings of that, but I'm not doing Sonic the Hedgehog for Cartoon Network like that. But yeah, I love that stuff.
I could be wrong, and I do apologize, but didn't you do something for Hell's Kitchen as well?
I did, yeah. I
Yeah.
did like I think when I say like a couple seasons for them, and I can't remember what the situation was. I think there was somebody that they worked with that was their narrator that had to go away for a little bit or whatever, or wasn't available for a season or two, and then they had me step in, and I tried to do as best a job I could as like Hell's Kitchen. It was a very like aggressive sounding, kind of a thing. And then I don't think I lasted more than a couple seasons before they were like, we're gonna go back to our other guy. Like,
Oh,
okay,
what?
cool. Happy to do my part. It's like that's the job. You step in and do your thing.
Yeah. What a career you've had. Just even now, I'm not even scratching the surface with these questions. You've done so much.
I
It's
am
insane.
I am insanely fortunate. It's like I thank you, but believe me, nobody pinches themselves over this more than I do because I'm just like, why would anybody else pinch themselves over my career anyway, other than me? Now that I think about that, I'm like, what does that mean? No, I do. I really do find myself just kind of going, this is bizarre. All I ever wanted to do was a job. I just wanted to get a gig. I just wanted to have a job. And then next thing you know, it turns into a dream come true of getting to star in a video game in like 2009 for, Resident Evil, and then picking up Assassin's Creed. And then, a year later, I'm voicing Sonic the Hedgehog. And then it's like all of a sudden you're going, what is happening? This is not supposed to happen like this.
Just
And then
keeps
to do
going.
it, yeah, exactly, to do it this many years later, and to do things like Hi-Fi Rush as Cale Vandelay, a bad guy, but albeit a bombastic, more comedic one, but stuff like that. And then, my God, 2013 Disney's Planes, that was like the ultimate dream come true, being a bad guy in a Disney animated movie. It was like all those things. Yeah, and to still be here and to still have somebody like Dan Allen's little brother want to interview me, it's pretty impressive. It's the
Uh,
minute we pick up on something, it's like I'm gonna beat that joke to like a dead horse. It's just gonna be, it's like it's gonna stop being funny.
you're gonna.
Not that I beat dead horses. It's a phrase.
It's a phrase, guys. Just before the keyboard warrior types it
I
out, it's a
know.
phrase.
Confirmed. Roger Craig Smith
Beats
enjoys
horses.
finding horse cadavers and beating them. Yes.
um, and also AC2 replayed that. Amazing.
Oh, nice.
Just going through. Because
That's Emilia, my friend.
oh, that's so cool to hear. I
I, I
usually
I'm glad you say that because my voice is so completely trashed after today that I'm just kind of like, oh god, I can't. If I knew Sonic, it's gonna sound. He's gonna be really hurt. I used to enjoy going to like when they would still do like midnight releases on like Tuesdays, for games and getting a physical copy of the games that was in, and I loved kind of like just lining up behind fans that were there to buy their Assassin's Creed, Revelations or Brotherhood or that kind of thing, and they were in line at midnight, and I would pull up and just kind of get out of the car and go line up. No one would have any clue who I was, and I was there to pick up my copy that I had pre-ordered, and I just got such a kick out of it because you could just see people who were excited, and it's like, yeah, so many like the lack of physical copies that we see now in games is kind of a shame. It's like I hope we find a way of getting back to something, some sort of something with that stuff instead of just downloading things all the time.
we should just bring back midnight launches again. Just bring them back. Honestly,
Yeah,
I wish I got to experience one. I was born just a bit too late, just when they stopped kind of being as crazy. But oh man, it looked like a good time. A
it
very good.
was. And it was usually like kind of like a party vibe, like because you'd pull up to like GameStop at some strip mall, that's closed down, and everybody'd be like, "Why are there cars like in this?" Like every other business was closed, and all of a sudden like GameStop would have their lights on, and there we were doing like a midnight release, and it was like, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, there's always change. There's change in every sort of societal element of everything like that, but it's like I always think it's kind of a shame to miss out on that kind of stuff.
Something I wanted to know, I just thought of it when you were talking about how you've been working for so long. A lot of people, I feel like they know the big characters, but your career also shows like a long-term trust because of how long you've been doing it and coming back to different studios and, clients using your voice for years. What do you think makes producers keep coming back to the same actor?
Um, oh gosh, I mean, if I knew, it would probably ruin this for me, in some weird way. Because I mean, I can make jokes that are actually that have a strong element of truth. Like, I always love that, like the joke in Hollywood is when somebody says like, "Do you know who I am?" And do you know who I am? I'm a big deal kind of thing. And I always love to make the joke from like a voiceover perspective. I'm like, "Do you know who I am?" the voice match for when that celebrity doesn't want to do their own ADR and the first three guys they call were unavailable. Yeah, that's who you're talking to. The guy who voice matches, you know, when the first three guys aren't available. And it's like, so sometimes the joke is always like, it's better to be available than be good. So I don't know what keeps somebody coming back. And I don't try not to think about that too much. I just try to be like, let me just be good and professional and genuine and do everything I can to be on time and prepared and not, I take even this vocal stress, like, like me being kind of hoarse and scratchy. I'm very aware of like, ooh, okay, if it's that you're coming down with something, you need to let everybody know ASAP so that you can rearrange schedules so that you don't think you're going to show up and sound like this. Like you have to be professionally ready for every client. And so I've even spoken to clients in the middle of a session and said, hey, I was vocally ready for you. I need to be vocally ready for my other clients. I was not aware, you didn't make me aware of this degree of vocal stress for this particular project. So we're going to have to pick this up at another time because I can't keep screaming like this. So stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of being good enough, hopefully, and professionalism, and hopefully easy enough to work with, to where I try not to bring my outside world into the booth, because it's just really doesn't help anybody and all those things. But I have no idea. I really don't. I don't want to think about it. It's like one of those things you're just like, nah. If I start to worry or think about it, I'm just gonna be like, all right. I'll just keep continuing to do what I do, and hopefully for the folks that respond to it, that continues to be something of benefit to them, that they think I will work with that person again.
I don't know why. I don't know. I thought you were gonna make a joke saying if I knew the answer, I'd sell a course or something. I don't know. I thought that's where you were going for a second. Just
No, because I mean, imagine that. It's like it'd be like me saying, "All right, Dale, just do it the way I do it," and then they'd be like, "This Dale guy's weird." It's like he's trying to be somebody that he isn't.
he isn't.
It's
No,
like
yeah.
that's why I say I think it's just whatever everybody's got. I mean, some people it's just their unbelievable the talent that just drips off of them, kind of a thing, and sometimes maybe they're not always reliable for being there on time, or or they're showing up consistently late, but they're so good at what they do they get away with it. It's like there's a magic sauce to all of this stuff, and that's why, like, the idea of like of whatever it is that works for me, I just don't think about it. I just like, all right, steady as she goes, just stay the course and do what I can to maintain and do that, because as long as the phone rings, then it means I'm doing something effective.
What does vocal health look like to you? What do your recovery days normally look like?
It usually is just, it's everything that you would do for just health in general, which is like you get rest, you take in fluids, and you try not to, for the voice, I just try not to use it. I've canceled dinners on friends. Because I'm just like, guys, I just had a throat ripper and I'm not going to be able to sit in a restaurant that's noisy and try to talk over the din of the restaurant, to have a conversation with you guys, or that kind of a thing. It's just rest, exercise, eating right as often as possible, avoiding all the stuff that we all want to do all day long. it's like trying to just be healthy in general, and to do everything I can to not abuse the voice, because especially given the career, given the kind of work that I do during the day, it's like it can be pretty demanding on the vocal cords, and as I age, I got to be even more careful with it, because it's 20 plus years now of screaming and yelling and doing things and punching boulders and battling every known entity on Earth, and in other worlds.
Yep.
And so you got to you got to be careful with it. And then you go and you do a fan convention for 3 days where you're talking to people over loud, convention environments for 8 hours in a day, and it's like it's all that stuff. Just kind of, you just got to be on top of it. It's a rather boring is what vocal health looks like to me, because it's just like, well, not gonna go out to dinner now, not gonna go do that, and probably need to just go to bed now and just lay down and drink a ton of water and hope that my voice kind of slowly starts to repair, and that you catch a break every now and then. A client will cancel and you're like, oh, thank goodness, okay, that means my morning is free. I don't have to worry about it, that kind of thing. No,
Kind of.
it is a weird thing. It's a weird thing to always just be aware of. I mean, like, even before my session today, I looked at my audition schedule and I was like, okay, I really want to audition for this project, and I really want to put my best foot forward. And I know for a fact that what I'm going to do this afternoon is probably going to be very vocally stressful, and that I won't be able to deliver the audition that I want to do in the morning before my next session tomorrow afternoon. I'm like, so I think I need to do this now, which means I need to cancel that errand, cancel that lunch date, and do these auditions now, so that I'm submitting something that's worth listening to. as opposed to being like, well, maybe I'll be all right, on Wednesday morning. And it's like on Wednesday morning you wake up and it's like tomorrow I will wake up and do everything I can to just not use my voice as much as possible so that I can be ready to go for my afternoon session.
What do you like to do besides gaming and photography? What do you like to do in your spare time? Like when you're resting, you're not speaking, you bit of a couch potato. What do you like to do? You just
No, I used to be. It's so funny. I used to be like, okay, the reward is just plop down on that couch and fire up the Xbox or, watch a movie or something like that. But I find as I've gotten older, I tend to be really quite restless. So I am a momentum guy. I like getting stuff done. I like tinkering. I've discovered the hobby of rock hounding, and I joined a rock and gem society here, and I go on excursions with those guys on the Sundays when I'm in town and can do it. And dig up rocks and then cut them in half and polish them and do stuff like that. It's like, so for me, it usually is involving something involving the outdoors. I might go into my backyard and deadhead the rose bushes or something just to be outside and to observe and listen and be in the world, because I spend so much time in a padded room. So it's kind of like, yeah, usually it's just doing chores around the house, tidying up, and trying to get things kind of put away. Like the other day I was like, I need to redo this. This shelving thing needs to go wider, and it's starting to get like it's gonna like collapse on itself. And I was like, all right, I need to work on that project, or update the equipment in the booth, or So I'm usually kind of coming and going pretty quick. I'm always sort of just go 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 until right around 10 o'clock, and it's like poof, just pass out, wake up, try to get it all done the next morning, and just keep cranking along. There's always something to do. And it's like, and I get a kick out of like in the summertime, I like spending days, like literally, I'll spend days in my garage just organizing and culling and like getting rid of stuff that I haven't used in the last 3 years and just going, all right, that needs to go to Goodwill, or I'm going to donate that, or that needs to just be like, I just got to go live somewhere else, stuff like that. Yeah, it's rare that, usually the only time you're going to find me plopping down. My girlfriend and I will eat dinner and we'll watch like a movie every now and then, but she's almost always passing out halfway through the movie anyway, and it's almost like a joke. And that we'll do that, but it's rare that if I'm by myself, I'm rarely gonna do that unless I'm getting sick. And then the minute I'm sick is when I catch up on all the video games and start just couch potatoing, because it's just like, hey, you have to just be mellow. Don't try to overdo things. Just sit back, relax, let your body heal, and inhale a bunch of fluids and food and take your vitamins and all that stuff. And then just, since you can't really do much because you feel like crap and you don't want to overexert yourself, it's like, all right, now I'll catch up on all the Xbox and all that stuff. So
you definitely
yeah.
seem like, I could be wrong, but you definitely seem like you killed it at LAN parties back in your day. I don't know, you got
Oh my
that.
gosh. Oh, we did. Oh, we fully did. Like we literally, I remember I would fly with my Xbox to my brother's house in Idaho, and I would put this Xbox in my carry-on, and it always got triggered by security. They're like, "What on earth is this?" I'm like, "It's my Xbox," And they're like, "Okay, you're a grown man." I'm like, "Yeah." And my brother and I are going to stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning for 3 days and just play video games as like like it was an annual thing. And then there was a time that me and all my buddies we took all of our Xboxes, whole bunch of Ethernet cables, whole bunch of fast switches and whatnot, and we went up into one of our friends' houses, and I think they were either getting ready to sell it or something. So it was all basically like vacated, and we just brought our own TVs and brought our own Xboxes, and we did a full blown Halo LAN party. And we're able to just like do like multiplayer Halo like on a local area network like that, and we loved it. We stay up till 4 in the morning just yelling at each other through all the different rooms, and yeah, we had a blast. I loved doing that stuff. But that's also what was happening to me in my 20s when I would go visit my brother. It's like we would like, because it started when we were like kids. We loved staying up late and playing video games. And then all of a sudden we were getting a little bit older and we had like schedules and things like that. And we'd still go away to try to make this happen. And I'd get up, and on our first day we'd eat like a bag of Oreos. It'd be like 3 in the morning, and you're having like Oreo cookies, and you'd stay up way too late, and then the next day you'd wake up at like 10 a.m. or 11, and you'd be like, oh God, I feel like crap, and and you'd just be like, man, I get heartburn and like all these things were like, I can't I can't eat that junk food anymore and stay up that late. So then it became like, I'd fly up and we'd go mountain biking and then, play some video games and like, shut it down around midnight kind of thing, wake up, go mountain bike, do something active and kind of like allow yourself to have the reward. And then it was just like, why don't we just go mountain biking? This video game stuff is like, stressing me out too much.
These days, when you do get your free time, what are you playing these days? What are your choice of games?
So, I mean, we did the Claire Obscure thing recently. We did a lot of like we'll keep an eye on like what games are being nominated and try to like see, okay, what is this? What is it that works here? Why? That kind of thing. Very often though, it's me trying to play catch up on games that I've been involved in that I have to like try to play to go like, okay, how did it come together? How's it work? Obviously on the Meta Quest, I was playing a ton of Arkham Shadow and trying to wrap my brain around that and kind of going, all right, this is cool. I can see what they were working on and how like crazy an achievement that game in particular was. I have yet to play Sonic Frontiers, if you can believe that. Um, it's
Cool.
just like I'm so behind on so many things. Outer Worlds 2, like, Call of Duty Black Ops 7, I'm Alden Dorn in that, and it's like I have yet to play the game. It's like it's killing me. It's, and then on top of all that is all the hobby stuff that I want to do at night, like the telescope gear and that kind of thing. So no, lately it's not been a ton of gaming. It just hasn't, sadly.
Going on to as well, you said you watch movies. What is your top four letterbox style? What would you say is your top four films of all time?
Top four letterbox style. Okay, Run Lola Run.
Okay.
Probably The Matrix. Maybe like a Saving Private Ryan. Gosh, what are like guilty pleasures? There's so many movie things are so hard. Like, what's your favorite kind of a thing? Like Shawshank Redemption. That's just one of those things like you can't not watch it when it's on, kind of a thing. There's four, but I mean, my gosh, the list goes way beyond that. Yeah.
I feel like I don't know if you are on Letter, but I feel like you'd like it. Do you know what it is? Do you
Of
know what?
course I know what I mean. Well, wait a minute. Maybe Letterbox is something different to me than it was. I mean, because Letterbox to me was 16 by 9, like the way it was shot on film had to be cropped, kind of a thing. What are you talking about? Are we talking about two different things? Is this a
It's
meme I'm unaware of?
no, it's not a meme. It's an app. It's like where you track your movies you've watched, and you get to have like your top
Oh,
four films. That when I say letterbox style, it's like your
oh,
top four
I thought
films.
you meant I thought you meant like which films look best in Letterbox,
No, no.
And I was like, well, that's an odd question because we're still. I mean, most TVs now are 16 by 9 at the very least.
No, it's an app.
Um,
It's where you just log all your movies you've
how funny.
watched. That's good though. That's good.
I should do that. My girlfriend and I share a reminders list of all the movies we need to see together because it just got to the point where you're like, oh my gosh, we got to see that movie. We got to see that movie. We got to see that movie. And I was like, I just created a shared reminders list to be like, just throw it on the list, and we'll get there.
It literally you keep track of like your four favorites. It's probably blurry, but your four favorites
Yeah.
and your four recent watches, and you can log everything.
Okay, cool.
Best out of 5.
Interesting. Okay.
Feel like you got to get on it. You know.
It sounds like it's another app that I need to
Yeah,
get.
another app. Yep.
Yeah.
You get that a lot. Another app you got to download.
Always, always. Another agreement to the privacy terms, which is just like, all right, you can have it all.
What am I signing myself up to this time? Just
Exactly. Yep.
accept it. Now, something
Yep.
I wanted to know. Speaking of movies, a lot of video games lately are being, redone for live action, or they're getting an animated movie. Like Bloodborne was announced recently.
Yeah.
Do you think if Dying Light was made into a movie, do you think it would work better as a live action or an animation?
Oh man, animation would be fun to cover if it was like Love, Death, and Robots style animation. Like if it was a cool, high quality arcane style to where the gore and the horror was treated properly because of the genre that is, the zombie genre. But it lends itself to such a live action kind of a thing. But I guess the part that would bum me out about live action is that it would just sort of feel like something that's been done before, with the zombie thing. So I think it'd be way more exciting and they could do so much more if they went animation. So I'd love to see it as an animated kind of a thing because then at the very least I might still get considered for providing the voice.
Hey, they
But if it goes live action, I don't know if you've been paying attention lately. It doesn't tend to go well for voice actors when it comes like to a video game they may have starred in going with live action.
Well, I know for like The Last of Us, they got all the OG actors back in, as like as supporting roles.
You know, I don't know when it comes to that stuff, but at least there's that. I mean, like when it comes to that kind of thing, it's like, yeah, cameos and things like that are really. I think there's such an effective use of like fan service and a nod to, you know, hey, this live action thing would not exist were it not for the work of, you know, people that have made it happen in prior years, right? But I mean, I don't know. Usually, what ends up happening is it's so rare that like the entity that created the thing is in charge of the new thing that's being done. It's usually a licensing thing, and then it's like it's out of their hands and decisions are made and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, it's pretty rare that you get something like the Last of Us scenario occurring, which is I'm thrilled for everybody that gets to participate in something like that. But yeah, that's another reason why I'm like, no, it should go animation. Should go
Yeah,
animation. So I can do
animation for
that.
sure. Get you in a mocap suit. You
Yep.
got this. You've got
Yep. There you go.
this.
There you go. Yep. I think it's great. It's a great job. Yep. You know
Yep.
what you're doing. Make it happen. Come on,
Yep.
Dale.
I feel like if they did live action, they could do something like how they did with the Uncharted movie, where like the guy they fall out of the plane and you see him just sitting sunbathing.
Yeah.
That's a perfect cameo. Hey, I did
It's
that
called a
once.
cameo,
I did that
and it's
once.
yeah, and it's a and it's the perfect sort of like nod, you know. I mean, like, and it's so funny because that stuff used to be done all the time. Like, oh god, I'm thinking of the movie Young Guns, you know, and I remember learning that like Bon Jovi played the part of like a bad cowboy who gets shot and blown back. And they had him like, you know, get blown away and he lands and like, you know, like on the dirt or whatever. And it was like, it was, nobody would have recognized that it was him, but it was like, that was the little Easter egg for, you know, because he did the theme song and all that. And it's like those kinds of things, I think it's always just fan service and it's fun. It's the blending of the crossing of the worlds that works. And so I'm always amazed when it doesn't happen. You know, it's like, you just kind of go, why not just something, a voice on the phone, you know, the clerk at the gas station, you know, it's something. It's like there's so many things that can be done, and sometimes it's just, you know, they, if it's a licensing thing, they'll just take it and they go like, well, we're gonna take it and do our thing with it now. And it's like, you know, none of that will be involved.
This is a silly question, but speaking of movies, have you ever met the actors that played your counterparts in the live action during the time you
Oh
were
yeah.
doing the role? Like Devin Bosnick, who was Ezio, Wentworth Miller, Chris Redfield. Have you ever met those two?
No, I've not met Devin. When did he do Ezio? Live action Ezio has happened?
He did this. It was like a 39-minute live action film. I can't remember what it was for, but he played Ezio in it. It's like an actual
Oh, what a
credited role.
trip. But I mean, I've met Ben Schwartz and love the guy, and he's insanely talented. Like I am an absolute Ben Schwartz fan, for so many reasons too. It just also like, you know, not only the incredible skill and talent that he possesses, but just for also how he was doing things that I know were not coming from like sort of top down orders, but he would mention Jaleel and Jason and Ryan and myself, you know, as having been actors that have done it before he did for the live action stuff when he was getting interviewed on like Larry King and things like that, and tons of other interviews. It was always just like, wow, that's a very gracious, nice thing for a colleague and a human being to do. But no, I don't think. I'm trying to think of like live action kind of stuff.
It could be like a fan film or something. I could have just not seen it. I just know when I was doing the research of like Ezio, like to recap my knowledge, I remember it was like, oh, voice, Roger Craig Smith, live action, Devin Bosnick. And I'm like, what?
That's weird. I wonder what that is.
It's
I
probably,
wonder what
you
that
know what?
is.
My mind, let me,
It was Lineage. Is that what that is?
lineage. Oh,
Lineage.
lineage. Lineage. What
Lineage.
am I saying?
Lineage. I mean, it's fine. Maybe that's how they pronounce it in Australia. Let's go with that. You know.
Nah, I think your version sounds way better. Yeah.
Lineage.
Lineage. uh,
Lineage. I
lineage.
can't do the Australian accent to save my life. No, I'll have to look that up. I'll have to look that up. I'm trying to remember. It's like now I'm kind of going, oh, what did I do? Did I do that?
I was gonna say, have you seen the Assassin's Creed film? And I'm like, you've definitely seen that film. You've definitely.
Not seen it yet. No, I will one of these days. I will one of these days. I think it's just one of those things where you kind of go, all right. I think some of the reviews came out, and I don't know that it was that it had done all that well, or that it, you know, it's such a funny thing. It's funny that you're bringing this up because like recently I found myself kind of talking to fans and kind of going, hey, man, we're seeing some incredible graphics and we're seeing some rendering of things that's just insane. It's just beautiful, and it's almost becoming photorealistic. At which point, what is the point? Is like in my mind, I'm like, if it's gonna be photorealistic to where the scans and the actor that's doing the role now with performance capture is also the vocal and the physical and the, you know, facial aesthetic of the character, and it's basically them. Why are we bothering with performance capture instead of just doing a live action thing? And then at that point, is it still going to have the same effect that an interactive game where there is this lovely disconnect? It's why, like, fans still go back and play like games like AC2 or, something where you are playing as this character, but they develop this very strong connection to the character to where I think they take on feeling like the character, like it's them that's experiencing the thing because there's this disconnect. And because the character doesn't really exist and it's not really one person, it's a voice, it's a visualization, a stunt performer, it's all these different sort of amalgamations. And I was saying, like, I feel like the beauty of interactive is that we can always have just enough of like a degradation of the movement or the appearance of these characters so that we can lose ourselves into it. Otherwise, we're just going along again for like the sort of passive experience that is film, where you're not becoming or not experiencing, you're just watching and witnessing, and then you get to go, oh, that was a neat little slice of that person's life. That was an interesting story. I may have felt something, but I didn't feel connected to it in the same way that I do when I spend 60, 70, 80, 100 hours playing a game as a character that doesn't have to look like the actor. It's like, look at me, about as far away from Ezio as one could get. But it's like that to me is the beauty of like interactive in comparison to live action. So yeah, it's always funny to be like, yeah, I think it's one of the reasons why all of a sudden certain video game films don't always work, because it's kind of like, yeah, but it's just not got the same thing. It's just got a different flavor and a vibe because it's now I'm not experiencing it, I'm just witnessing it. And it's like, it's so tough to make those things work, as we know.
With Ezio as well, that is probably one thing. So much respect to you. You got to play him on so many different levels of his life. Young Ezio, older Ezio, and all different moments of his, especially with his revenge and all that. It's nuts. When I was looking at the reel of all your voice work for that, it is nuts, man. You did so well with
Oh,
Ezio.
thank you. No, I lucked out with that. I mean, I really lucked out. I know that they had auditioned, authentic Italians for the role, and that what really was the decision in the end, as I've been told, was that it was the 3 age range thing that they were looking for one actor to portray the 3 different age ranges. And fortunately, I was able to, to young Ezio and do the different, the different voices and then different voices, like do the different ranges. That was what kind of helped kind of seal the deal for me in that regard. And I'm very, very lucky to have been a part of that. It is one of those just pinch me kinds of gigs.
Even in voice recovery, you still nail it. It's so
Oh,
good.
thanks.
Even
He
in
sounds
recovery,
maybe a little more tired or a little like Ezio's been yelling at the Borgia for a little too long. He's been screaming in the town square.
new credit tied Ezio.
I'm still here.
I'm gonna wrap it up here, mate. Roger Craig Smith, thank you for taking the time to do this. I don't know why I said your full name, but thank you for sitting down here.
It's the 3-name thing. It's what I'm known as. You can call me Roger, but
Rod.
yeah, I get it.
Thank you for taking the time to sit down. I have had so much fun with this. Thank you, mate. Literally, thank you.
Thank you. Let's do it again. I apologize that it got like wrapped up so quick, but yeah, let's do another one in the future for sure.
I'm
When
so
I've
keen.
got more things coming out, more
Exactly.
exciting stuff.